Thank you.
Here you go.
Oh man, I hit that.
Come on, man. Oh my god, this guy's a shit show.
It's because I hit the camera.
Holy fuck, man.
Yeah, that's assault. We're not.
Sorry.
Friendly fire. Friendly fire.
You hit who's holding the camera?
Yeah.
I thought you were wearing your hat the cool way.
Oh, should I wear it the cool way?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you have to have the curls coming out of the front of it too.
Duh.
It's almost like a kind of like a kippah, but with a brim on it.
What the hell is
Oh, it's a kippah.
It's the Jewish
Like,
hat.
oh, the goalies. That's what the
The
English
goal
call the
kippah.
goalies. Yeah.
Goal kippah.
The kippah. Yeah. No, I didn't know that. I'm culture.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys.
What's up?
Back to another week.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about money and the economy.
We're talking about economics.
So so this is somewhat related, I guess, to the economy, but I don't think I've ever asked you guys this. Do you guys get paid and you have multiple jobs, so I know that you might have but your primary job, what's your pay? Are you bi-weekly? Are you weekly?
15th and end of month.
Semi-monthly.
I hate that.
I'm that too, and I actually like it.
You like it?
It's more consistent.
Yeah.
It's so consistent. I
Yeah,
get it.
it's
Yes, sure, it's consistent. But what I hate about it is no one else that my car payments aren't semi-monthly.
Why didn't you set your car payments up that way?
They wouldn't let me.
That's fucked.
Did you actually ask though?
Yeah, straight up.
No,
that's,
he didn't
that's
ask.
crazy, bro.
100%. Because
My
when I was
mortgage
running, I was
is
like,
semi-monthly.
really?
So it ties up exactly.
Yeah, okay. If
and
everything was set up like that, then yes. Sure.
Everything.
But
I'm pretty sure almost everything can be. Your car payments, I think they've just
What do you think is
the?
do you think bi-weekly is the best?
No, I think semi-monthly is the best.
I do.
Semi-monthly.
I would prefer weekly.
Semi-monthly is there's less payments than bi-weekly by 2 in a month.
Yes, because
2 in a year.
instead
It's
of 26 pay
cycles.
periods, you get 24.
Right.
Now, granted, the one benefit of bi-weekly is there's certain months you get paid three times, and we planned it so our mortgage also we require a second payment on those months, so that we schedule it so we pay off our mortgage faster.
So are you paying your mortgage bi-weekly?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Because it compounds faster.
So and I brought it up because my dad I don't know, this came up out of hockey. I don't know why we were talking about this. Oh, I said we were talking about economics or the economy, and then so then they were saying that my dad just changed the mortgage to weekly, even though he only gets paid. Maybe he gets paid weekly, but he was saying that going to a weekly piece, he pays into $8,000 a year more into his principal of his mortgage.
Yes.
Because of how more frequently you're paying. I was like, that's a lot of money.
Because
if you're not really changing how much you're paying.
No,
you're just paying
it more frequently.
Exactly.
And that's how it is, because then if you're paying into principal faster,
it
doesn't let the interest collect
so
faster.
I was debating I might change how I do that.
Yeah.
That's smart. Yeah, that's
because, okay, and now here's another question. Do you guys have a lot of money floating in whatever account your stuff is about? For me, when stuff I don't have any money left that it's immediately allocated on the next business day after it comes in. Parts go to the mortgage, parts go to investments, so basically all of my money moves right away. And I don't really have money extra money that isn't for just do whatever you want.
I do have a little cushion. I give myself a little bit of cushion.
Okay.
Good for you.
Well, it's when I say it's none, but it's I have a couple $100, but it's not it's not oh, I have a grand just not going anywhere type thing. I was curious is that I don't know if that's a common. So that was something I actually made a note to look into. I didn't.
I'll tell you, it's quite uncommon because majority of people in Canada, well, I think it's currently 48% of Canadians live paycheck to paycheck. So they don't do that way. But also because the amount of people who actually pay into RSP and those kind of things is also minuscule. In my company, there's 2 people who do it that way out of the 60 plus.
So do they monitor how much you contribute to RSP to see if you're eligible to get RSP, or does everyone get... Sorry, I'm thinking CPP.
Who's the who? Is it your payroll or are you talking about the government?
I'm talking CPP, so government.
Okay, CPP.
So...
I think you have to. I think that's...
No, what I mean, if I just never worked. Or let's say I worked... so they wouldn't take it if you made minimum.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't calculate your income because so that they wouldn't really... Because
you couldn't retire.
They only calculate...
Yeah, you wouldn't have money coming out when you retire.
That's what I'm saying is they would say you haven't had a job, you haven't contributed to CPP, you don't get CPP.
Yeah.
Right.
When you go to apply for CPP, I assume that they'll look at
how much have you put? Right. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was interested in that.
And it's also depending on when you pull out. If you retire earlier, different kind of rate, etc. Right. Mm-hmm. Those are big factors.
So I want to set the stage for what we're likely going to fully dive into today. So we're discussing what topics we want to talk about. Lucas pitched the Canadian economy.
And Canadian as a whole, not just like the entire country.
Sure. So Canadian
what else would Canadian be?
Yeah. Not like half Canadian.
Yeah, like not half Canadians.
Like all Canadians.
Yeah, all Canadians.
And initially I was like, I don't know a whole lot about, economics, and it seems like I don't know where we're gonna go with that. Yeah. And Lucas then followed up and he said, yeah, I don't think we all agree, because I think, like, for example, the economy's not as bad as people think it is, and it boils down to ambitions and goals, if I'm not misquoting.
Essentially, yes.
And then immediately, a spark lit up, and I was like, oh, we're going to have a fun podcast. This is going to be great, because I heavily disagree.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I want to double down on the ambiguity and the subjectiveness of your point that has a built-in safety net, which I like, is because you're saying the economy's not as bad as people think it is, which is obviously subjective, which is
like some people
who thinks this is bad? Right. How bad do we think people think it is?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many nuances in it that was just like,
yeah. And to double down on that, I almost regretted my decision immediately, because then I started looking into it, I'm like, I might be kind of stupid.
This kind of sucks.
No. But I will kind of stick to my guns when I say that.
You have guns?
I don't. When I don't think it's as bad as people think it is, or say it is, it's because we are always comparing our economy now to the economy of 20, 30, 40 years ago, which is an unrealistic expectation because of our population increase. We are now at 39 million. We were in 2020.
Let's call it 40 million.
Yes,
that's crazy.
But in 2020,
we were at 30 million.
Yeah, that felt like 5 years ago.
So pre-COVID,
which is probably true because Trudeau's just letting in so many fucking people.
But so this is where the dilution of information happens, right? Because essentially how our GDP works is that if you were to have, let's just say there's a goal of $150 for us to obtain as Canadians, and there's 15 Canadians. That means that we want each to get $10 to get to that goal. What Trudeau, the Liberal government's saying right now is like, okay, so like, then let's double our population, and their goal is only half, so we obtain that 150 faster. Yeah. Well, yes, that's true. You do get that 150 faster, but now that goal is skewed because now you have to have that goal for double the amount of labor.
It doesn't work like that. It's not a linear equation.
And that's why people always assume that, okay, that means our economy is doing terribly because we are not adjusting that figure, but we actually are. But not at a correct rate.
Okay, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, what's interesting is I've never really thought and took a step back. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense, and I know the economy's bad. I just feel that it's really bad because of how much more I've had to pay to own my home.
Your purchasing
literally
power
just
is less.
a year.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
yes.
I'm like the direct math as to why I've never really looked into to understand the interest rates going up, and it's like fully understanding what they're trying to offset with doing that.
Why
I'm just I just pay a fuck ton more money than I did a year ago.
Yeah, and it's a fuck ton more.
And it's like I feel like nothing has I'm like outside of that groceries cost more, but I'm just paying almost twice as much for the same thing.
Nothing's changed. Yeah. I woke up today and I'm not paying double.
But a lot has changed.
I wake up it's a month. Last month or whatever, I wake up and it's like, oh, I now have to pay another $120 a month. That's crazy.
So,
yeah.
And that
was like 6 months in a row.
And taxes are getting increased. Holy shit.
That's the thing that I do agree with the economy going down. Well, you have to agree because we're entering recessions.
Some would argue that we're in a recession already.
Yeah,
I would think we would say we were in a recession even last year.
2020 we're technically in a recession because we hit 2 quarters in a row of negative values, and then we're in a recession before then at 2008 and 7 when interest rates were at 8% for housing. We are not close to that rate, so technically that's where the argument is made that it's not as bad.
Not as bad.
Oh, okay, so because it could be worse means it's not bad.
Well, this is where we're comparing a recession to recession, apples to apples. Now,
is it ever apples to apples though?
Well, this is where you can't really compare it that way because housing prices are more. So though interest rates aren't as high as they were before,
the
housing is significantly higher. Now,
yes, definitely.
the housing prices, your grocery prices, that all has to do with supply and demand. We increased our population, so there's more of a demand on all this product, whether it's housing, shelter, etc. Now, what they don't tell you is when our homelessness rate increased by 3% in the last 4 years.
Yep.
How many people is that?
So, well, hold on. Majority of our homelessness.
I love something.
Now, hold on. I'm going to tell you some facts. Our homelessness is majority of immigrants.
Yep.
And you know that our population is booming with immigrants. So that number is also skewed because people just enter in and are instantly homeless. Are they Canadians yet? No, they're not. But we count them as Canadians in these statistics, which is problematic.
That's an interesting take.
Sure, it's an interesting take, but how many of them are refugees versus legitimate immigrants?
Can they also?
Which most of them are actual immigrants. Not there's a lot of refugees for sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are people who are immigrating. So yes, they're not Canadian citizens yet, but it's not a new thing that people are immigrating to Canada. People are coming to Canada and then realize, like, holy fuck, I can't eat. I'm literally choosing to have a shelter and starve, or eat and be on the streets.
But I say that the reason why we can't really look at those numbers accurately is because these people are coming so unprepared. That's stupid. Because the problem with Canada and our economy is that we have some of the dumbest consumers in the planet.
Yeah, sure.
So you basically just
straight
called
up
people immigrating to Canada dumb.
I think if you immigrate anywhere without a game plan and then you get stuck with I didn't expect it to be this way, I'm homeless now, I think you're an idiot.
That's good.
No, but yes, that's fair. That's fair. But Canada was once a place, a lot like the States, where you can immigrate, and as long as you had good work ethic,
We still are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
And not in the GTA, but Canada as a whole, we are. We always compare Ontario and the high density cities to this imagination of, we can't support jobs, because we can't. If I put up an ad right now for a job, I get 300 applicants in a day. That's problematic.
Yep.
Because that shows how many people are desperate looking for a job. However, it's also shame on our government for saying, let's bring people into the GTA. Now, immigrants will always cluster around bigger cities because that just makes logical sense.
Absolutely.
More things are happening, more cultural stuff, they can assimilate easier, etc. The only problem is we don't do a good enough job of saying, hey, like, why don't you go fuck off to Newfoundland? Because there's nothing going on there and we can actually start developing more. Let's keep going on a high developing city like Mississauga that's already problematic with our density.
Do they allocate people?
That's the problem. They don't. We allocate people by bringing them into the GTA not just GTA specifically, but high dense, already overpopulated areas. And this is the problem because we, as a whole, like for example, you're explaining your housing, your food costs. That is more so, if anything, in like BC and Ontario, the main hubs.
I think it's everywhere.
It is everywhere, but the scale that we're seeing, this large scale, you can look at a house in London. In fact, we looked at a posting. It's double the size of my house. It's half the price of my house still. Because
but
you
still double what it's worth.
Yes, so
which is still crazy.
Significantly more than it's worth. But you can still, if you outsource that way, you can still find more opportunity. But for the most part, immigrants are not directed that way, and that's a problem.
And sorry, just before you go, this would be like where I would be curious to hear like if, I guess we had back in the day Lee Grand Champ.
Yes,
I'd be curious to hear like his advice now comparative to we asked him his input then, like people trying to get into like the housing, like what do you suggest? Whereas it's now it's like how do you even like give advice to things that are like that's like an extremely difficult thing to do.
Yeah, that's a pipe dream.
Yeah, that's like realistically nowadays, if you're not in the housing industry, you're in your early 20s or 30s. Like
you're gonna have hard.
I think it's gonna be unless you make like, 150, 200,000 a year easy.
It's it's at a comical level. It's literally memes now being like you see an old lady hitting you up at the grocery store, being like this might be my one chance into the housing market if I hit on her back. Like it's a joke now because it's so stupid of how difficult it is to get there. But the problem is that because the supply on housing is so high, the prices go up because we have all this immigration here. Mm-hmm. Where you'll still see in those really remote areas, those pricings are still like at a few $100,000, like 300 to 400,000 for like what we would consider a mansion nowadays, which is really just 3,500 square feet.
Even in the U.S., like some of the guys I talked to on COD, like the other day, the guy was like, he was trying to land help his wife land a job for like I think the salary was like $100K. He's like, because we just bought a $500,000 home, and I'm like thinking like, this guy probably bought like a nice
fucking ball, and depending on where he lives.
And I was gonna say, I was like, bro, I'm like, I live in a townhouse. My house is over $500,000.
Worth more than that. Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy.
It makes no
sense. And I don't even know
sense.
where this guy's from. Like, he could be even from like a place in the States where it's, you know, I'm trying to think of where it's not like this guy's living in like California. Like
Texas,
this guy could be even like
I always
the Midwest.
Texas,
like Idaho. This could be Idaho. And
Could be,
like,
yeah.
You know, $500,000 home is like literally a mansion.
I'm saying if everyone was down to move to Texas, I'd move to Austin.
Well, we've talked about this before, right? If we could all agree, just as our group of friends and our family, to be like, why don't we just all pick up and literally migrate in one spot?
Go to Kingsville.
We could literally. That's the thing, is that could we live a good life or could we not? My assumption is we could. Now the problem with the States is your amortization, you can lock in for, is it 35 years?
I think in Canada got changed so you can go to 35 now.
Can you?
What?
I think
I think you're right.
I could.
You're right.
Like when even last year when I refinanced, I had the option to try to push for 35.
Really? I didn't.
35 is a long ass time, bro.
35.
I locked in only for 2 just because our interest rates are high. It would be dumb for me to lock in.
Not
not your term.
Not your term. Like
your
amortization.
Oh, I'm talking about. Sorry, what I meant to say is in the States, your term you can lock in for almost the entirety of your mortgage, and that's why.
That's crazy.
That's why. States,
so the fixed rate must be like insanely high.
Has to be.
But this is where the problem with States is that
risk.
So many people don't live in their means and they run into debt because they're so comfortable with their house payments now.
The other thing,
and then they spend stupid money. Which realistically, if we had that opportunity, we're like, you're telling me I could lock in for X amount of years? Like, I am now going to play it smart. Yeah. Problem is, again, we are dumb consumers. We'll use that instead on getting a boat, on a new car. We'll use it on.
Boats are sick.
Boats are sick.
But
boats are fucking cool.
But new trucks are cool. Do you need a boat?
Well, not his, but in general, they're cool.
Do I need almost anything I have? No.
No, me too. Neither.
Well, I think, but this is the issue with Canadians, is that I see often, is that majority of the people who I know who run into, and this is just a bias, I guess, because I'm talking about people who I know. Who have financial struggles
you used to know?
are spending dumb money. It's the people who go on trips twice a year, who go to restaurants every week. It's those people who always struggle.
But what about sorry, you're talking about people who do that and they're like living on the thread, not like people who have the money to like casually do so.
Yeah, I'm talking about people who can't afford to live that lifestyle but do it anyway.
But want to.
Yeah.
For Instagram, and social media is a big part of that too.
You gotta be flexing, bro.
You gotta impress the people
on the
who
gram.
See, as of late, I have once upon a time, maybe honestly, a couple months ago, if you said that, I'd be right there with you. But as of late, I just think about it more and more, and I feel like our Western views of living. Don't get me wrong, I love being in a first world country, and I love having stupid things that I don't need. But I'm starting to think like, man, what the fuck is the like?
You grinding. You work till you die.
You work till you die. First of all, work is so important. Like you work till you die. Work. Gotta retire. Gotta make money. I didn't even realize I did that.
You know the back of it. Yeah.
But it's just like you look at all these like. And
Europe.
I get,
just name like any country.
Not even Europe. Fuck, you look at all these third world countries, and I get that the grass is always greener, but like there's
there probably is greener there.
The grass is definitely.
It's gonna be like in Africa they get unlimited vacation.
Yo, can you imagine looking out your backyard and seeing a African lion safari? I have to pay to go to African lion safari. Yeah. They just look out the window. They get to live in it.
And they have chocolate milk rivers.
They have chocolate milk babies.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But my point is like they're just so happy with so much less. And again, like I said, I like to have my shit for sure. I'm fucking super into comic books lately and spending more money than I should on comic books, but I fucking love it.
But you can afford to do so.
I can't for sure. And I'm not saying I want to get rid of this, but I just mean like there's part of me
because we're like privileged to like be able to have.
We're definitely in a great position, the three of us. But like I just want to not worry about things anymore.
So
like
don't.
Oh, and I'm definitely doing that. Just like fuck it. Time is more important to me. I'm so fucking stressed. No, but I mean like yeah, fuck. What am I saving? Like yes, I'm saving for a future, and I have a kid now, and I want to look after them and set them up for the future. But at the same time, like when we've talked about it before, like, I really want to enjoy this moment too.
You said them? I thought he's a he.
Well, I said them because I'm thinking we're planning to have two.
This guy, he just assumes gender, and it's not even a he.
No, actually, he's being progressive by saying them until they decide, because them is more neutral than direct.
Oh, sorry.
You're toxic.
I'm actually the big
Yeah, that's fucked, man.
Yo, fuck them.
You can't be around my kid anymore. That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree, because it's also like, you almost feel guilty every time you spend money being like, now I have to work extra hours to make up for the value I just
be happy.
spent.
Just like, I'm not saying be reckless. Find that fine line of enjoying the moment, enjoying what you're working for right now, as well as being ready in the future.
So one of my initial points that we had touched upon was the way that people, I don't want to use this line because people hate it, but people don't want to work anymore. But
it's
granted,
true. A lot of people don't.
People don't want to work anymore, but it's also that people want to have their conditions set, which I think is a good thing that we're doing now. A lot of the new generations are saying, nah, I don't really want to work that OT. I think that's bullshit. Where our generation was I work 70 hours a week.
I want to work from home and exclusively.
Yeah.
So, but here's the other problem, though, is that because of all those work from home remote demands, I don't know if you know this, but domestic violence in homelessness was like 0% a few years ago. Ever since COVID, remote from home, we had thrown, I think, domestic violence had created an additional 8% of the homelessness pot.
Oh, I thought you said there was domestic violence in the homelessness, which I was a little confused about. But
because
street fights. That cuts
it's huge. We have a huge domestic dispute. But
like Ryu.
Yeah, like street fight. Are they homeless? He's been wearing that same ripped up outfit.
That's why it's ripped, dude. It's not because of fighting. It's because
he just doesn't have any other clothes. He has like a beard down like later games, so he's like getting like homeless for sure. He can't even shave.
So I'm saying, but it leads to another issue is that we get
the
homelessness rate that increased by 2%. So increased by 2% as a whole, but it increased by 6% alone by domestic violence. So think about how technically it should have been down, but it's because of COVID and all these remote that actually increased it, not really the population density and stuff.
So it's forcing like couples to hang out more often than they hate each other more.
Yeah, it's forced. It's forced interaction.
That's interesting.
It's right, because a lot of people maybe like work is the time away. You know, so you have a little
recharge
more separation.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand how when couples work together in the same job. I'm like, do you guys not like fucking hate each other at a certain point? Now, like you worked with Emma, but it was different because you guys
were in porn?
We were super together at that point.
What if they were in porn though?
Like OnlyFans. Yeah, there's I've seen people get choked in those.
Yeah, that's true. Each video is domestic.
I've even seen sometimes someone just like she's screaming. I don't know if she's like it anymore.
God damn.
Hey, what do you watch?
That's dark. Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I'm just watching home videos.
Is Christina slapping you?
Yeah.
I'm just crying. I don't like this.
Yeah. I do feel that also people choose. I'm not gonna word this properly anyway, but people choose to work in shitty environments and then they settle for that and they think it's fine. People aren't happy with their minimum wage, but they don't do anything to get out of it. I know people who work that minimum wage and then they're like, I want to make more money and I want to work solid. And I'll say, well, you have options. Have you considered this, that, and the other? Yeah, but I'm comfortable.
I think you could go even further and not even say that people settle for shitty like employment. I think people in general just settle, like not even just around work, but around like
just circumstances.
Yeah, like people just like I don't think it can get any better, so they just accept it instead of continuously looking to be like, can it
advance their situation.
But then they blame everything else, and then they look for everyone else to make the change for them when they still have power and options to do so. They just choose not to use it, and nothing frustrates me more because.
And it's interesting that like, do we have a biased a biased view of that because of where we are?
The reason why I'll say no is because I work 2 minimum wage jobs on the side. I choose those jobs rather than possibly something higher online because I personally I like these human interactions. I like in person, and I get to learn. I work at a grocery store because I like the fact that I can get food discounts and I get my groceries on discount when I go there because I intentionally select the stuff on clearance while I'm stocking shelves. I'm allowed to.
This guy's throwing shit on the ground.
Chocolate milk's
on sale. The economy's not that bad.
all the chicken ones, he's like smacking. He's like, this meat was abused. Clearance.
That's crazy.
So
this is not ethical.
It's not halal.
He's choking the salmon in the tank. Nope.
Yeah, it's not halal anymore, right?
But then I'll see people who are like miserable in those jobs, and I'll be like, so have you considered looking for something else? No. Like, something will come to me. It's like, that's not how it works.
And for sure there are lazy people, and there are for sure people who don't want to strive to better themselves. But at the same time, do you think that minimum wage jobs should at least earn you a basic form of living?
Yes.
I think that.
Yeah. Because it can't. Because it fucking
no,
can't.
it can't. And
it can't,
that's
but
what's
it
like
couldn't.
skewed.
It couldn't for a long time.
I think it could have 10 years ago.
No, the last time
here-
it could have actually
here-
was in the year 1998.
So here's the
That's
thing
weird.
that gets a little skewed too, right? Is like
Really?
Yeah, it's been a long time. We always use that excuse, but it's been a long time, over decades. It's been decades since that was possible.
Okay, so that's still
But
more of an argument to say the economy sucks.
But still a problem, because at one point it was. What flipped the switch that it wasn't anymore?
I think is that the housing
There's
like
always
the housing market went up to the point that like it's impossible, like literally impossible to.
But
to
housing
live.
only really got insane in the last 10 years.
I don't know. I think it's always
Like the real insanity was
Yes.
10 years. For
yes.
sure.
I agree. That housing part, but also because scalping people. Our government doesn't do us any favors in limiting homeowners from owning more than 2 or 3 properties. They finally started doing that with.
Did they react too late to like?
Mm-hmm.
Well, even when they did react, it wasn't like the proper. It was like, oh, if you don't live in the country, you can't do it. But still, but we still have problems with that. Businesses are running residential. Alberta, I think it's 70-something% of all housing there is rent because it's owned by businesses.
Wow.
That is corrupt, in
Yeah,
my
that's
opinion.
fucked.
Right, and
But
their excuses.
What if it's priced at a point that it's not like absurd where, like, would it still be corrupt if it was at a point where it was very affordable? Yes.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think.
No,
I would be okay with that.
But I assume it's not. But I'm just thinking.
It's not.
Like,
It's priced like a regular mortgage almost, but it's rent. But then the argument is, well, you don't have to do the down payment or the land transfer fee, so we're technically saving you money.
Which is something. I mean, if there was somehow a long-term rental agreement, like I can rent this until I'm dead, I would very much.
It was like that, in like the 70s.
The other thing though is that the whole owning a home thing is a very like Western thought like in Europe, it's not uncommon to never own a home because you're always renting but their prices don't get outrageous like ours do.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it
is a very like, I would even say like North American, really. Like I think that's like a primarily U.S. Canadian thing.
It's absolutely
like Europe is not like this.
Yeah.
But it's because
not to the extent, at least, that we are.
But it's because we want to own it. And the thing in
that's
Europe,
that piece is what I mean.
In Europe,
like,
they're happy not to. They're like, I don't care to own it because I live in it anyway.
But I think it might partially be because, like, this piece I don't know
because they came from communism. They never owned it in the first place, so they never developed the need to own it. Where we owned it first, now we're getting that taken away from us.
All of Europe come from communism?
No, but like I'm giving examples. Like some of those communist countries, like Poland, is still known for renting because they never owned ever. So it was always the government.
But that's what I mean.
Poland is still known for pierogies.
No one knows it for renting.
They rent them though.
Oh,
they rent the pierogies.
They don't.
Which is crazy because the most known pierogies are the potato ones, and those are Ukrainian.
That's upsetting.
Isn't it?
For you. I love them.
I mean, I don't care to be labeled with pierogies, but I kind of. It's lit on my Instagram.
Have you seen your stuff with potatoes? Potatoes.
Crazy.
It's just like the thing though is that like even the whole owning a home thing though, like the root of it, for us, like I've just growing up, it was always a thing. Like you want to own your home, but I don't think that I don't know what it is about that. Like if it didn't, sure, it obviously benefits you because you have it as an asset. But realistically, if you're renting at a rate that's cheaper than what it, you know what I mean, or it's more affordable, does it offset not having to have an asset because you're spending less money?
But so, do you plan on having? It's like the people you buy it so that way you can pass it down to your next generation. It's like you're kind of doing it to set up your kids for a better future. Where realistically, if you're a dink, double income, no kids, and you never plan to you never plan to have kids, then there might not be that value to own a home because by the time you pay it off, you're at retirement anyway, and you're like.
But it's also I think the other piece side of it though is that the real estate's always like historically has been one of your safest investments.
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But now it's actually technically
It's risky, dude.
in Ontario specifically, it is actually not worth buying a house in this market if you have no prior.
100%.
If you have no down payment, like if you have mutual funds like running you passive income already, it's almost better to keep that and use rent. It actually not almost better. It is better.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Fuck your down payment. Throw in some other investments. Take it out of the bank. Roll it up.
Live your
Not
life.
too tight, but roll it up. No, but yeah. Rent, travel. There's so many things that I personally would rather do than pay these fucking insane prices right now. Probably because I can't. So I just tell myself I'd rather do those other things.
But we all abandoned that teenage dream of why don't you and your best pals go on a house together like that?
We did.
We did, but
we basically did.
But I rented.
Well, you did. You
I rented.
Sorry, yeah. Kellen and I did.
I got scammed. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm totally joking. But like, if you really think about it, as adults, we kind of dismiss that dream, being like, no, I want my own solidarity. It's still not a bad idea, like, especially in this market. It's still a good idea.
I'm telling you,
to do.
the way East Indians do it, I think is the way to do it. And I don't know if you guys know how they do it, but their whole family pools in, buys a house. And there'll be, let's say, 4 siblings in there. 4 adult siblings. 4 families are in this big house, though.
So Brampton.
Brampton, for example. And what they do is they pool their extra money until they can buy a second house. And then the oldest gets to move out and they get that house. The 3 people are still in there.
round robin.
They pull the thing, boom, buy a third house. Next person
Then they
moves
fight
out.
to the
boom,
death.
boom,
Yeah.
boom. And I was like, that's fucking brilliant. Why aren't we doing that shit? Like,
Well, even just
because we don't want to be labeled.
that's it. And we don't want to smell like curry.
No, but I think it is the whole like.
You have to.
It's
You have to be East Indian too?
If you run that game plan, you have to cook curry like at least 2
And be
times.
East Indian, or could like non-East Indians?
No, you could be non-East Indian, but you have to like kind of be part of the culture. Like you gotta go order some samosas a couple times. You gotta go to the Eglinton Food Plaza thing and like cause a ruckus a little bit.
Wait,
you guys promote us when you
Eglinton. Which plaza are you talking about?
The
Ridgeway,
Eglinton,
and
South
with
all the food and shit there.
Ridgeway and is it South Down?
Oh wait, what happens over there?
Oh,
are you serious?
They pop off there all. There's so many complaints about like the residents there. Like they're so loud over there because people are just using it as like a hangout spot now, and they're just like loud and like obnoxious.
They refer to them as they.
Well, I'm saying they as in anyone who's there, but it just so happens to be there's a lot of Middle Eastern.
That just happens. There's a lot of non-binary. There's just a lot of they that. But yeah, that plaza has been on the. It was like on the news at one point, like 4 weeks in the row for like a stabbing or a fight or something.
Oh fuck! I didn't know about that.
Yeah. It's a lawless town out there.
They got some banging food in there though, so I'm not mad.
There's a ton. That is like one of the most densely populated like restaurant options I think I've seen in a long time.
Okay. It's
we're at time, so we can wrap it up. But
we're at time. Okay, real quick though, there's no freaking way there's 10 plus shawarma places in there, and none of them are a front for money laundering. There's no way 10 shawarma places stay in business when they're 5 steps away from each other.
Maybe we should do an investigation. We'll go undercover with.
You got some drugs for me? Like, what are we gonna ask them?
No, because then it's like Rib Fest, where like they sample different shawarma from each spot.
Yeah, but Rib Fest moves, and that's the whole point. This thing is a permanent location.
No, it's not. I've seen movements go on there. Like there's people getting into fights, so they have to move the permits and stuff. So it changes.
You're right.
That's interesting. Right.
We didn't touch into as much of this economics things as I thought we would.
We can still go for like 5 minutes though.
Okay, the thing I really want to say the most that I really want to touch on to really nail my.
Okay, actually we're good.
Nail my point home why I think the economy is bad is
bad. I think we all agree it's bad.
Because his truck got stolen. That's why.
And having to buy a new truck literally a year and a half later was already like.
And your interest rate is like 5% more.
Dude, yeah, it's insane. It's so stupid.
That's his point.
I fucking hate it. No, but my real point is, back in 2012, a little over 10 years ago, minimum wage was like $10.25. Minimum wage now $16.
Holy, that seems like a lot.
That's a decent jump in 10 years.
It's over 30%.
You put it into perspective what
it's cost. Yeah, it's over 50%. So that's nice. But back in 2012.
Yeah, wait.
I don't know why I said 30%.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you did math. It's well over.
Well, I wasn't wrong. I said over. I could have been like over. I could have been like it's over 1%. It's over 2%.
Yeah,
it's over 2%. Yeah.
But back in that same time, I could go to McDonald's, buy a junior chicken McDouble for $2.92. one junior chicken now is like $3.50. So for me to get both is like $6-7, which means that's increased by 100% plus 100%.
Do you still buy it?
Yes.
You're a dumb consumer.
You're the reason.
No.
Our economy sucks. Is you. No. Like specifically you.
Here's the thing.
You're a dumb consumer.
I'm not a dumb consumer. One, I'm living a beautiful life full of McDoubles and junior chickens. Second, I'm helping the economy because the only thing you could do in times of recession is spend the money so it's circulating to recover.
That's true.
I'm saving us. I'm saving us.
Or you don't put money back in to force the government to actually take true action.
What do you think would happen if you didn't put money back in? You think it would force the government to take true action, or you go into shit and the government just keeps rolling?
Here's what happens, right? McDouble goes up double in price. People stop buying McDoubles. McDonald's has to change their strategy to sell. What they do is they decrease the price. We go back.
No way.
No.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
A good example, Harvey's. Have you checked Harvey's prices recently?
No.
I bought Harvey's today.
They still... How have their prices changed in the last year?
I was never a big Harvey's person, so I don't know what their prices were.
It's barely changed because their demand has been low. So they didn't increase the prices. Now, the other thing is that Trudeau, his dad, not Justin, back in the day when lettuce was going up in price, he said something really specific. He said, well...
Lettuce is getting expensive.
He's like, why don't you guys stop being dumb and buy spinach instead? So that way lettuce prices are forced to drop.
But wait,
everyone told him to fuck off and kept buying lettuce. He's like, okay, keep doing your thing.
But that is a fair point.
But my rebuttal would be, bro, I don't want spinach. I want lettuce.
But here's
they're not even the same.
So
they're not even close. They're not interchangeable.
Do you go to the grocery store and be like, I want shrimp and noodles, no matter what the price is, I'm going to pay for it? Or do you change it based on what's on sale?
No, what will happen is I'm going
more often the former.
The first option.
You'll do the first option?
More often.
I will
but this is the problem.
I will literally be like, I actually don't even think about, I'm going into the store.
This guy's breaking his neck for finishing the can. So you're going to the store?
And I'm like, we have an idea of like, what do we want to eat at some point soon?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I will just look to see if stuff is on sale. But if there's something we really want to have and it is not on sale,
I don't care.
You don't care.
Because we're gonna have
so if I plan on making something, let's say I'm really hell bent on meat lasagna, what we'll do is we'll check flyers to see which stores have it on sale, so that way we plan our route in grocery stores accordingly.
But you're killing the planet because you're driving more.
Yeah.
Sure.
Therefore, increasing our carbon tax even more, thus driving up the prices of this food.
But
you're the dumb consumer. What the hell? You piece of shit.
And then you have to go pay more in gas.
Oh my.
Okay.
God.
But I also dislike planes, so I don't travel in planes. Traveling in a plane once a year causes more carbon than I would throughout the whole year of driving.
But you go skydiving. You go skydiving once a year in that same fucking plane.
Yeah, but the plane doesn't land because we crash it, so we half the carbon is eliminated right
that
now.
Fire burning up that fuel so much worse.
I actually.
Oh.
You just
snorts the fire?
The flame.
This is insane.
All the smoke.
If you can snort the flames from a burning plane, why don't you just save the planet? Because you're obviously fucking Superman.
I've been trying, but you guys keep buying McDoubles at double the price. I can't do it.
That's why they're called McDoubles now.
Oh, McDouble the price.
It's a single patty. It's a McDouble, baby.
Yeah, I like that.
Everything's a McDouble.
No, but that is legit. The thing is, boycotting is effective. We've seen it.
No, it is.
Happen.
You're absolutely.
The problem is that you can't get everyone to boycott together for obvious reasons. Some people, it's straight up. McDonald's, even though McDonald's has gone double the price, it's still the only thing they can afford. And McDonald's and fast food restaurants mostly thrive in bad economy. That's when they've gone up and fine dining goes lower. Everyone knows that because it's elastic. And then when economy goes up, everyone has extra money to spend. Guess what? McDonald's suffers a little bit, surprisingly.
Even still, I don't even know. Okay,
so McDonald's is taking advantage because you know that their supply and demand, those things have not doubled in price. McDonald's is price gouging. It's very clear because the GDP is a fraction of what their actual cost of goods sold is, which means that it's very clear that they're taking advantage.
Do you think there's a financial strategy behind McDonald's to target areas that they would assume have generally a lower income?
Oh yeah.
I believe that was once a strategy. I think the strategy now is fucking Starbucks put it on every fucking corner because everyone loves McDonald's.
Well, so what happens is now McDonald's McCafe became the richer neighborhoods. I don't know if you noticed. If you look for those nice McCafes, they're not in the sketchy neighborhoods. It's the old rundown looking McDonald's that are in those sketchy neighborhoods. So you get the nicer experience. So McDonald's caters to the higher end with the McCafe vibe, where it's a very clean storefront, those kind of things that really like Starbucks-esque vibe. Mm-hmm. You'll see those in the nicer neighborhoods so that they cater to the clientele that way to make people come in.
Do people feel fancy going and getting a McCafe?
I think people feel nicer about it than walking into like the
cafe. Yeah, I love fancy.
Coffee.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
See, in grocery stores though, like certain like food basics are usually in lower demographic areas.
Yep. Those places, those haven't changed. Those are absolutely targeted for lower income areas.
Yeah, you guys remember Price Chopper?
Yes.
And then it became Freshco, right?
I don't know the one.
And then Dominion became Metro.
That's right.
And IGA still exists in like countries, but that became Dominion, which became Metro.
I didn't know.
I thought one of them became Alongos. IGA, I thought became Alongos. There was the one at Thomas and Glen Aaron. Is that not in Alongos now? That used to...
Thomas and Glen Aaron.
Yes, you're right.
This is McDonald's in that plaza, actually.
Yeah, you're right.
It is Alongos.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be an IGA.
Was that an IGA?
I don't know. I think so.
I always knew it was Longos.
I always knew it was Longos.
Maybe it was always Longos then. But,
Anyways. What are we grateful for, boys?
I'm grateful that I have bi-weekly pay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm great. Despite the economy being bad, and the crazy price of everything, I am grateful that I work one job and I can sustain all of my shit.
Yeah.
Not a knock, just...
No.
I would be
grateful
too that it's like, to your point with the, even with the economy it is, that I'm able to get by and not really have to worry about too much.
Yeah.
That I'm very thankful for that. Or grateful, I guess.
What are you grateful for?
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, because we're not going to stay and listen.